In this episode of Health and Faith, we're looking at part 2 of our Dangerous Water little series. And we're looking at the second of 10 water toxins that make a water filter for your home essential. So in episode 34, we looked at the first 5 and we're looking at the others in this episode. So listen in, because these things, these contaminants, are in our municipal water supplies coming out of our taps or our faucets every day. So really imperative for you to be aware of this stuff so you can protect your body, your health, your family from these things. Okay, so yeah, let's get into today's episode. Are you ready to feel clear-minded, energized, and strong in your body so you can serve God with even greater joy and purpose? Welcome, friend. I'm Laura Hargrave, Master Certified Nutritionist, best-selling author, and health coach with over 20 years of experience helping believers like you live vibrant, spirit-led lives through simple and lasting health habits that truly work. In this podcast, I weave together biblical wisdom, proven science, and a less is more approach to help you burn fat naturally, boost your energy and focus, and restore your body as God's living temple. So grab your green tea or your walking shoes and let's grow in wisdom and wellness that will bless you for years to come. Welcome to Health and Faith. Before we get started, I have something completely free for you that you can download that will be a additional help to go with this episode on the topic of water contaminants in our water supply. And that is my free guide called How to Choose the Right Water Filter Without Wasting $300 or £300. It's a US and a UK guide that will help you to look at the topic of water filters and make a wise, informed choice. It also goes through the top 14 contaminants in US and UK water. It talks about the faith aspect, faith and water, spiritual nourishment, and various other bits and bobs that will help you. So you can grab that if you go to healthinfaith.com, click on the link that says water, and you can download that guide for free. It will also be linked in the show notes as well, and today's blog post that goes with this episode. So in episode 34 of Health in Faith, we looked at the first 5 of 10 very prevalent and pernicious toxins that are found, contaminants in our water supply. So let's just do a quick recap on that, and do go and listen to that episode after this one if you've not yet heard it. The first one is lead. The second one is PFAS, forever chemicals. Very concerning in our day and age. So please do listen to that episode. Go and read the blog post as well to find out more about just how, where are PFAS? What are the effects on the body? How can we get rid of them? Really important. This is a huge concern in our day and age that's only really been here for the last 20 or so years, and in the last 5 years, last year or two, have really increased a lot. So do find out more about that, and I will be covering PFAS, PFOAs, PFAS in these forever chemicals in future episodes as well. The third toxin is arsenic. The fourth is nitrates from fertilizers. The fifth is DBPs, disinfection byproducts like trihalomethanes. And we're going to look at the number 6 to 10 now in this episode. So the sixth contaminant found widely in our water supplies is VOCs, which stands for volatile organic compounds. And there's also semi-volatile organic compounds as well, which is another thing. But let's just focus on VOCs. It's a broad category of chemicals, and they can enter the water through industrial contamination or spills. So mainly just through everyday industry. And you might see them listed plainly unless you review detailed water quality reports or do some expanded testing. So why do VOCs matter? What do they do? Well, many of them can place a big stress on your body's detox pathways. So your liver, kidneys, skin, colon. And if you already feel like your liver is overloaded, perhaps you have low-level liver issues or non-alcoholic fatty liver disease or something similar. Or maybe your body reacts to everything. Then VOC exposure can be one piece of that puzzle. And it's definitely then something to be minimized and try to detox from concertedly. This is where I want to remind you of Proverbs 4:23. Keep your heart with all diligence. Your life is downstream of what you allow in. Now, obviously, that's talking spiritually, but it's also talking mentally. And because we're soul, spirit, and body, mind, and spirit, then we keep our heart, we keep our mind, and we keep our body. We are mindful of not allowing things in that are harmful. And that includes what you drink and what you put on your body, what you shower in every day. So some practical steps. If you live near industrial areas, consider a water test. Don't just trust your municipal water supplies because, yes, we're told, drinking water is safe, and UK and US water supplies are amongst the most safe in the world. Yet they're not. They judge these standards by, it's a very specific and quite narrow set of standards, as in, is someone going to get diphtheria dysentery from the water supply? No. Okay, it's safe. Yeah, what about pharmaceutical waste? What about VOCs? What about chlorine, chloramines, heavy metals, PFAS? The list goes on. And yeah, so you can't just trust water board reports. I'll point you again to the Environmental Working Group if you're in the US. Have a look at their tap water database. Don't take my word for it. You might be thinking, my goodness, this woman's fear-mongering, and where is she getting this from? Have a look at the Environmental Working Group database and put in your zip code and just look at all the toxins that are in your area that are well above safe levels, okay? So, practical steps. Test your water. Carbon filtration can reduce some VOCs, but the specifics matter. So you really need a really good heavy-duty carbon filter, and probably a reverse osmosis filter would be better. Use reputable certification databases and contaminant reduction claims to choose the right system for you. Again, this is where my guide, my water filtration guide, how to choose the right water filter without wasting $300, can help you, because many people make the mistake of either spending way too much on water filters and it's still not doing the job, or being just overly overkill for what they need, or buying something like a Brita filter or any number of, there's a plethora of water filters out there, but buying something that's not actually up to the job of getting rid of the things that are in your water supply that are harmful. So you don't have to spend thousands, but you do need to choose wisely. So again, my guide will help you. So the seventh toxin commonly found in our water supplies is pesticides and herbicides. So things like atrazine, glyphosate. Pesticides in water are a real concern in areas with heavy agricultural use. And in all honesty, it kind of filters to city areas as well, for the most part. From a natural health perspective, one of the most important things you can do is to reduce your ongoing low dose exposures to pesticides and herbicides. And that means with your diet as well. So choosing organic foods, not eating things like wheat and corn sprayed with glyphosate and GMO things. But it also means your water as well. Why? Because your body can handle an acute burden better than it can handle a little bit every day forever. Okay, so a little bit every day forever will manifest in ongoing chronic disease, pain, autoimmunity, whereas an acute burden will result in, immediate illness, and then you'll be forced to relax and eat well and maybe not eat for a little period so your body can recover and it will heal. But this ongoing low-grade exposure, as with all of these toxins, is a more pernicious, more dangerous problem. There's also active research assessing how different residential water treatments remove pesticides. So a 2023 study looked at residential water treatments for removing multiple pesticides and highlights the effectiveness can vary based on pesticide and treatment type. So again, you need to take ownership for your own health in this regard. Practical steps, again, test if you're in an agricultural zone. Have a look at the environmental working group tap water database in your area. Avoid assuming that a basic pitcher filter, again, a Brita, something like that, removes everything needful. It just doesn't. It just doesn't. So consider a multi-stage system if pesticides are a known issue. The 8th contaminant is chromium-6. This is in some regions, but it generally is found in the whole water table because of its prevalence, because it's hard to break down. It's one of those contaminants that many people have only heard about through high-profile cases, and in particular, the film Erin Brockovich was all about this hexavalent chromium. And if you've seen that film, you'll know just the things that people were, hundreds of people were victim to this in their water supply. Women, families, children coming down with cancer, thyroid issues and dying from chromium-6. The broader point here is we can't outsource our health decisions. This is what I'm trying to highlight to you here. We can't assume that the water boards, the government, the chemical companies, our neighbour, anyone is going to look out for your protection in this regard. We have to be proactive. From a metabolism angle, heavy metals, chromium, and certain industrial contaminants can contribute considerably to oxidative stress and inflammatory burden, which is a recipe for stubborn symptoms, also linked with cancer. This is why I teach the women I work with, mainly women, because they are often more interested in a kind of cleanse. And detoxification is not just about some kind of cleanse. Detox is about reducing the inputs whilst also supporting the outputs. Okay, so we need to be proactive. Part of detox is stopping the things coming in the first place. So some practical steps. Again, check your local water report for chromium. Alarmingly, in some places across America, the levels of chromium-6 are like 250 times the safe recommendation. That is crazy. If that's the case, you need to be filtering your water, my friend. You need to be filtering your water. And if present, choose filtration that claims reduction for that specific contaminant. Okay, so if you find it in your water, then you need to choose a filter that deals with that. Maintain that system properly. Change the filters on time, because a poorly maintained system can, mean that you think you're filtering these things out, but actually not. The 9th contaminant in our water supplies, which is an emerging concern, as I'm sure you're aware, is microplastics. These are increasingly found in the environment, and the science is still evolving on this. And I want to be careful and truthful here, but the trend is it's not encouraging. What we produce, we are increasingly consuming. So plastics in all sorts of things, including clothing, plastic bottles, industry. It's all ending up in the environment. It's ending up in our waters. And yes, we're concerned about the oceans and the effect on sea life, but it's also ending up in us. So even if your water utility meets standards for regulated contaminants, Microplastics often fall into the emerging category and either aren't tested or it's just kind of ignored somewhat. And I'm not saying this to scare you, I'm saying this to empower you. If you're already on a journey to reduce toxins in food packaging, in cookware and personal care, then water has to be part of the same story, okay? So, practical steps for this. Try and reduce your plastic exposure overall. So instead of having plastic bottles, then choose glass bottles, stainless steel. Don't heat plastic. Don't store things, like especially food, in plastic, storing glass jars and things. Use a quality water filter and keep it maintained. And think in terms of percentage reduction rather than perfection. When, let's be realistic. We're not going to get perfection because these plastics, like PFAS, like various other things, are everywhere in our day and age. But that means it doesn't mean to say that we just go, oh, well, it's everywhere, so I can't do anything about it. No, if you can reduce your exposure by 50, 60%, you're going to be 50, 60% better off than the next person who's not doing anything about it. So, yeah, be encouraged on that regard. There's a lot that we can be doing to mitigate these things and to deal with them before they result in some horrible chronic disease. And the final 10th toxin, contaminant that is found in water supplies that we need to be concerned about is, and many people don't think this is the thing, or many people, like so-called experts, will deny this, but it's absolutely proven to be in our water supplies. And this is pharmaceutical residues and emerging contaminants. This category can include things like medication. So I was just looking at a report from a water board a couple of days ago, which has got a long list of medications that are like alive and kicking in our water supplies, from ibuprofen, paracetamol, Tylenol if you're in the US, to what else? NSAIDs, cocaine, things like that. What else? A whole long list of pharmaceutical medications are found in our municipal water supply. Contraceptive pill, vaccine residues. So, yeah, this is why I often teach that health is not just about what you add in, supplementation and nutrition, but what you reduce. And again, this is a whole holistic, robust approach to detox, not just let's just do a 3-day juice cleanse, which all looks very sexy and sweet and lovely and a bit twee. No, we need to be far more robust. We need to be tackling EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies, air quality, water quality, sleep, food. And this is something I talk about a lot in my 4-step metabolic health guide for Christians. And I have a framework in that called Tandem Waltz. And the 4th part of that framework is all about lowering toxic zones. So if go and grab my water guide, my free water guide, but also I have on my website at healthinfaith.com/guide, a 4-step metabolic metabolic health reset guide for Christians, which goes into this in more detail, which is completely free. So go and grab a copy of that as well. So, what do we make of all this then? Well, here's what I don't want you to do. Don't think, oh my goodness, we are doomed. I'll be honest, when I've done a deep dive into this topic of water filtration and water contaminants, my initial thought was, how are we even alive with all these things in our municipal water supplies? And then I kind of took stock and thought, right, hold on. It just made me want to worship the Lord more, because he's designed our bodies to be so very resilient. It's amazing. Like, I think for myself, I smoked for 7 years in my teens and 20s. And now in my late 40s, I'd never know that I smoked. I've run marathons. I've got great breathing, and, just amazing what we can do to our physical bodies. And we can bounce back from and recover from. Do you know the liver can be like 90% damaged, liver damage, liver failure. And if you take the steps to detox it, stop giving it toxins and allow it to heal, it can fully recover. It can go from a 90% dead liver to fully functioning, fully healed. That's just amazing. So we don't need to get all like, oh my goodness, this is awful. It is awful, but we can take heart in and take agency. Our job is not to become an anxious investigator. Our job, like with our health overall, and this is the ethos that I teach at Health in Faith, our job is to become a wise steward of our health with biblical wisdom. So the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency in America, notes that a contaminant, in inverted commas, is defined very broadly, and that the presence of contaminants doesn't automatically mean a health risk, but can be harmful at certain levels. So the practical takeaway here from this, from all that we've covered, is this. You need a water filter. Like, that's a non-negotiable. You need to start somewhere. Now, that might be with a simple jug filter just to get you going, but please, it needs to be better than a Brita. And I've given some very inexpensive, do the job well filters, pitchers, jugs, and gravity filters in my free guide. So go and check that out. But if you're thinking, I want to get rid of PFAS, I want to get rid of chlorine, chloramines, heavy metals, lead, arsenic, chromium-6, then you may want to consider a reverse osmosis system, as I use and have used for many years, and supplied hundreds of clients with at this point, and they've benefited from it. It may mean a whole house system. It may mean both. It may mean something else. So as I say, let's have a look at my guide and look at your situation. It's going to be different. If you're a renter, then you can't install, well, you could, but it's going to be very impractical to install a whole house system. If you are living in the countryside, there are different concerns for you. If you're on a well, if you're a big family compared to a single person. So your context matters, but either way, you need to filter your water. Number one, I'm going to say it again. You need to filter your water. If you want to be healthy, if you want to steward your health well, you absolutely need to filter your water, okay? So use reputable contaminant reduction claims. So don't just trust every filter that says, oh yeah, it filters out all these things. Honestly, the amount of websites I've looked on of water filters, and it says gets rid of like the main toxins in water, and the average person would go, oh, there you go, job done. But yet nowhere does it say the percentage, what contaminants, any NSF certifications, so like industry certifications on what it actually reduces. So again, we need to be wise. Your system, your solution needs to be simple enough that you can actually maintain it, afford it, and use it, okay? And that's what I can help you with my guide. Filtration is wonderful. So let me give you just a simple framework example here. If your main concern is taste and chlorine, then a quality activated carbon system may do the job as a basic system. If you are concerned with PFAS, nitrates, or multiple contaminants, then this is where you need a reverse osmosis, a multi-stage system. That's going to be much more appropriate for you. But you must verify certifications and claims. And I can give you my recommendations that I've spent the time. I've poured, hours into researching this. And I'm also, this is my gig. I am a health researcher. I've got a law degree, so I know how to triangulate evidence and claims and things. So let me, piggyback off of the research I've done. Let me help you. And if you filter heavily, consider your mineral strategy. So you're not drinking kind of empty water. So again, maybe reverse osmosis with remineralization. So we'll wrap it up there. Hope that was helpful. Do grab at healthinfaith.com my water filtration guide, how to choose the right water filter without wasting $300 or £300. And I look forward to speaking to you again in the next episode. Be blessed and speak soon. Thanks so much for listening today to Health in Faith, our podcast here for Christians to equip you to live healthy in the unhealthy world that we live in. If you enjoyed the show and appreciate it, then do share it with a Christian friend. And would you literally it takes 20 seconds, just go on to Apple Podcasts and leave me a review, a 5-star review. I read everyone, and I look forward to speaking to you again on the next episode of Health in Faith.